Hi there everyone. So today this will be my first art video where I go more into detail, step by step kind of thing. There will be sections where I do speed up the process so that it goes quicker, but essentially this will be more of a tutorial. This is more for advanced beginners to intermediate, and especially ones who are looking at more color theory, but if you want to watch it for mere curiosity, go right ahead. This is a character I drew sometime this year, and it was based on a really old drawing from primary school, which was a long time ago for me now. I didn't want to show the drawing, but I will for the sake of the video. Here it is. It is really bad, I know. Anyway, let's get into the video. So to start things off, I start with the art outline, which as you can see I sped through pretty quickly because I sped it up. Next thing I did start on was the base colors of everything, but before I did, I just cleaned up any bits of the outline that I wasn't happy with, and then I got into the base colors. The best way to do when it comes to working with the colors, you just want them planned out first so that you can get to them easy and you don't have to keep going into the color settings and changing it every time you want a new color. And again, you want to make sure that you're working in layers because it makes things a whole lot easier. And I always start with the skin when I start a new stage, a new step. I always start with the skin, and I'm just rearranging some of the layers because they got a little bit mixed up. Yeah, I'm just cleaning up on any areas that I don't want. And now I'm going to be making I was just showing it an idea of the different undertones, but you can't see them very well, so I'll go more into that in another video. And now I'm doing the base colors of the clothes, which again I sped up really quickly, and I did the hair and the eyebrows as well. The next stage that I went to was the eyes, which again I work in layers, especially with the eyes because eyes have a lot of colors and there's a wide variety of colored eyes, like especially with blue because there's pale blue, dark blue, medium blue, blue with gold, blue with green, and even those confusing eye colors where they look blue and green at the same time. And yeah, I like to work my eyes like this. I do an outline, and yeah, as you could see, it took a while for me to get the right shape because I'm a perfectionist. I want it just right. And yeah, I have the outline of the iris, and then I just go in with the lighter color of that blue, and then I do the highlights along the bottom. I use 2 different colors for it this time. And then I went in with a darker blue for up the top, and I just made a bit of a random shape with it. Doesn't really matter if it's messy. I used the blur tool, so it didn't really matter if it was messy anyway. And then after that color, I went in with the purple, which is I placed that on top of the blue just to darken it that little bit. And then yep, I'm just blowing it out again, and and now I'm doing the pupil. I couldn't use my mouse for the pupil because I've been having issues with my USB port thing, so I had to use the stylus, but it still did a good job. And now the next thing I started on was just making I made a blush for the skin, so I just used the skin color and and a pink. Sorry about that. I used the base skin color and a pink just so I could have that nearby, and then I started doing the shading on the face, which basically, in simple terms, you're pretty much doing it like makeup. So if you're watching this and you know how to do makeup, that's great. But if you don't, basically you just put the darker color in these areas so that it acts like the contour. And then with the highlight color, once I've finished cleaning up my little areas and adding just a little bit more, I've named the layer, and then I'm going in with the highlight. I had to lighten it because it wasn't that light. And I've placed the highlights on these areas, underneath the eyes, on the nose, and just a bit on the chin as well. And then I went in with the shadows around the hair. I only did them on the inside, on one side of each strand, because you don't want it all over, it'll just look a bit messy. And then yep, I went in with the blush. I tried different ways because those are different ways you can apply blush to your skin. I just went with this one because I wanted to show a bit of the cheekbones almost. And then I just did some of the highlights on the neck and just a little bit more of the shadow there. Okay, next thing I started on was shading the clothes. Now, shading clothes can be a bit of a tedious task. It can be either easy or it can be hard. It always just depends on the lighting. But for this video, I've just gone very simple. I've put shadows on the inside of the arms, and I did the highlights on the outside of the arms. And I just cleaned up all the areas that I did not want. And yeah, just doing the shadows around the collar area, a little bit on the waist area near the belt. And again, naming them. And yep, I've gone in with the highlight color and just blending it out. And a bit on the collar, a bit around on the bust and such. Putting it in places that are easy to understand, kind of thing. You want to make sure that your shading makes sense, because if you put it in the wrong spot, it can stuff up the perspective. And in some areas with shading, you don't want to make it too prominent, which just basically means you don't want it to pop out too much. Sorry for the chair, it is very creaky. And yep, I've gone in with the shading on the shirt dress, the top dress, which I had a darker colour, but then I used more of a greeny colour because it helps. Using different colours for the shading helps kind of darken them a bit. And yeah, I just used the magic tool to clean up an area and doing a bit of a shadow underneath the bust area. And then I cleaned it up a little bit, and I went in with the shadow. It's not the shadow. I went in with the highlight colour, which I just built up very slowly. It is better to build up the shading slowly rather than putting a lot on. You don't want to go too heavy-handed with it. So I had already I had paused the video here and I lost some of the footage, and I had already shaded the bottom part of the shirt, but I didn't catch that on video. So those lines there is where you would put the shading and the highlights on the dress. Now I'm doing the legs. You basically just it's the same deal on the legs that you did with the arms. You put the shadows on the inside of the right leg, and then with the other one, because it's more front facing forward, you put them on both sides. And you put the highlights in the middle on that one, and then on the other side it's only on one side. And now with the hand, you just put the shadows on these parts of the fingers and up there where the jacket is, and the highlights. Don't need to go too heavy handed because it's just the hand. You want to be able to see more of the shadows than anything. And the last thing that I did were the boots, which basically it's the same kind of deal with the arms and the legs. Shadows on the inside, highlights on the outside. And there's the brand new character here. I really like how she turned out, and yeah, I'm honestly surprised that my drawing skills have improved this much over the years compared to my primary school ones and to my high school ones. Now, there is the optional part of adding a background, but that's entirely up to you. I can't think of an idea right now, but I might later or tomorrow or a few days from now. But thank you so much for watching my art video and my art tutorial, and I hope you found it interesting. Hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this, and let me know what you would like to learn about drawing. You can comment on my videos. I would love as much criticism as possible, and I hope to see you again next time.